Hey everyone, Yukon Alley here. It is now the year 2018, my third season mining up in the Yukon. I managed to finance my biggest piece of equipment yet to try and stay on that pay streak we found in 2017, so let's see what happened. The end of 2017, we had a good year. Like, we were pretty happy with ourselves that we'd managed to find a pay streak in our second season up there. But we knew that in order to continue going on and growing up there, we were gonna have to buy a bulldozer. It couldn't just be any bulldozer. We wanted a big machine. And our benchmark was a D10. When you look at those machines, or if you've been around them or operated them, you know what they're capable of. They are capable of moving so much dirt. The ripper can rip through permafrost like it's butter. Like an 11, that would have been like, if I'd won the lottery, that would have been on my list, but the 10 was gonna get the job done. Alan started researching. He found one. It was kind of bent and, you know, it looked like it had really been well loved, let's say. And this machine had 55,000 hours on it, okay? Like it was not new, it was a 2005, but the price was right if it was an okay machine. It was in awesome shape. It was a diamond in the rough and nobody figured it out because out of those hours, 39,000 of them were in neutral. So that machine just sat there and idled for most of its life, obviously. We basically stole it in our mind. Did it look pretty? No, but it was ours. And now we had a 10T. Look at us go. Like this piece of equipment, like in its current state, should have been worth 800,000. One with less hours is well north of $1 million, and we got it for a hell of a lot less. As happy as I was to have this epic piece of equipment, my payments have doubled again because this one was quite a bit more. We need to get up there and go to work because payments are coming. We had this bulldozer and it did not look pretty. Like Alan and I were both, we can't take that up north looking like that. We're not those kind of people. I mean, it was a D10T, but it was ugly. I had a friend who had a paint shop, so I bought pails of cat yellow and he came over and helped us paint that thing up so it looked brand new. I had another friend that owned a sign shop in town and he put all new decals on it, so when it was done, man, she was a beaut. So then we were ready to head up north. It was gorgeous. I was proud. We were both proud. And man, I really felt like I was somebody when I had a D10T ready to head up to the Yukon. There's no feeling like that either. I keep saying that every time I had financed a piece of equipment, like, oh wow, I own a 40-ton rock truck. I was proud then, but this D10T took it to a whole new level. Originally, we were supposed to go up, travel up with the trucker. We were gonna help pilot it to kind of save on some money, but we couldn't get away. So this guy went up without us and we had wanted it dropped off on Hunker Road. So it was on the right side of the highway, but he dropped it off across the highway. You can't walk a dozer across the highway. And we are still 85, 90 kilometers from our camp. So I called my brother and he was trucking and I said, you're the only one that I can have do it, so please come up. So he did. And we started driving out to towards camp. We got out there and my mining neighbor that I had bought the Holy Roller from graciously offered to let us put the dozer together in his camp. When we first got there, the fall off load, which was the blade and the tracks and that sort of thing, they had dropped those off a week prior to that. They dumped them off in an icy puddle. It was encased in ice. All these, track frames, blade, whatever. So that was our first task, was ripping those out of the ice. It's important to note that we didn't have anywhere to stay and we couldn't get out to our camp while we were putting this dozer together because we had to plow the road out there to get in. So we were driving back to town every night while we were putting this dozer together. And hotel rooms in Dawson are not cheap. So by the third day, Alan's like, we're putting this together today and that is it. I don't care how long it takes, we're heading out. I'm like, yeah, okay. Because it was just, we felt like time was wasting. Finally put it together and we took off at 9:30 at night. So we'd been up since 7 a.m., started the trek at 9:30 at night to head out to our camp. We had to plow the road the whole way. This is another 35, 40 kilometers. It was exhausting. I was in the pickup, he was in the dozer, then I'd get in the dozer, he was in the truck, and we'd just take, like 10-minute naps while the dozer, plowed its way along. But I remember just feeling so isolated because we were the only ones out there. We were plowing the road into, our camp. So all night plowing in the darkness, and then, then it's daylight and it's like, oh, okay, we're almost there. I cannot wait. Turn the heat on, just go have a nap, and then we'll deal with everything after that. So we finally get into camp and I'm like, oh, yay, we're here. The dozer's here. Everything's happy. And I open the door into our RV because I'm just like, let's just go to sleep. And I look in there and I'm like, oh, Christ. Like, really? It was full of mouse shit. And at that point, I'm like, screw this. And we passed out for, I think, 4 hours. When I woke up, I'm like, okay, now the real work begins. We summarized everything and I had all my equipment now lined up. I stopped and I went, wow, this is mine? Like, holy It was just, I'm a real gold miner now. I have a dozer. I didn't consider myself a real gold miner until I had those 3 very important pieces of equipment. And then after that, I'm like, let's move some dirt. So we started pushing dirt, but now we had this dozer so we could rip and push. So start sluicing, I think, end of May. And by that time, I needed the money. And no. The gold was not there. I mean, there was a little bit, but it wasn't what we had ended off with in 2017. The ground owner told us, no, those guys were never in there. They just were playing around in there, but they never mined any of it. Well, they were in there. They were in there. So we're stripping down like 15 to 20 feet deep of overburden. We started seeing these circular ice in the gravel. We're both like, oh, Christ, really? Those were old-timer shafts. They'd dig a shaft, a circular shaft, and melt their way down. They'd dig a hole down, and then once they found the paystreak, they could just follow it underground. And we're like, oh. If the bedrock is still the same, if it's still that huge smart carb sized rocks, we'll be okay. Get down there, no, bedrock's changed. So here I am with these massive payments and not enough gold to show for it. We'd had breakdowns that year too. I mean, when you're always in gravel and that sort of thing, your buckets aren't gonna last. So we went through a few buckets. that year. So here we are, just like we were back in 2016, just looking around to find a spot that's going to save our season. And we found a lot of interesting things, like you're finding old timers relics, and we found a lot of mammoth tusks that year and a lot of bones. So it's so cool to find those kind of things along the way. And it's not, it's not all horrible. It's just that I found mammoth tusks instead of all the gold. I don't know, maybe a week we were doing that, and we found a spot at the very end of the year. We sluiced that for like, I don't know, 10 days, maybe 10, 14 days. And if I was gonna sum up 2018, I would just call it a battle from the beginning to the end. It started out great. I had this shiny bulldozer, but it was just, you were battling the ground, you were battling breakdowns, you were battling the weather, and then I even battled the old timers. I cussed them out something fierce when we got down to the bedrock and found out they had cleaned her out. So, we had found enough. There was just enough to let me come back. Like, yes, we're gonna come back. But had it not been for buying that bulldozer, we might as well have just given up and picked a different career path. I remember driving out in the snow and minus 15, minus 20 probably. And I thought, wow, what a difference a year makes. 2017 was quite nice, and I thought, yay, we're on it, look at us go. We're on this awesome pay streak. We're gonna set the world on fire. And leaving in 2018, I was like, wow, this business that I'm in, I don't know. I got taken down quite a few notches. So that was 2018 in a nutshell. I choose to remember that year as the year of the dozer. And I try not to think about all the challenges and struggles, because why bother? I finally had a fleet, and it was pretty cool all in all, even though we didn't get that excellent pay streak I was hoping for, and I was going to find a way to come back and make 2019 an even better year. Well, that was the hope. I just want to say thanks very much for tuning in with me and following along as I relive my first year's mining in the Yukon. I love hearing your thoughts and comments. It really is heartening that you guys watch it with me and kind of think it's cool. Like, I find that very heartwarming, honestly, and I appreciate all of you. So I hope you do tune in with me next week when I relive 2019, the year we hope to turn everything around and make it an epic year. Until then, everyone, may your beer be cold and your pants heavy. Cheers.